Welcome, Carter and Javon, when you're settled. We'll open up the floor to some questions here. All right, well, so we can start here up front left, and then we'll go right back in the middle. First, last name and affiliation, please. Thank you.
Anthony Christensen, WholeHawkSports.com. Just for both of you guys, just what have you seen just in the, I guess, short amount of time you've been able to scout St. John's? Just what are their strengths and how have you guys kind of approached that?
We know they're Big East champions. We know they got the Big East Player of the Year on their team. They're well coached, very physical team. So, we expect a dogfight going in.
Yeah, they're a good ball team. They're number 2 seed for a reason. They're pretty good, physical. Like what TB said, Big East champs, and they got a Big East player, so pretty good.
Thanks, guys. Here in the middle.
Hey, Tyler Richardson, ESPN Arkansas. TB, getting that first NCAA tournament win as a college player, Carter, same for you. How much time do you have to focus on that and obviously then flush and move on to the next game? How much time do you give yourself to celebrate and then transition to getting ready for this game tomorrow?
I would say last night we did most of the celebrating we were probably going to do for that game as for right now because, we still trying to play more games and win more games. So, to us, this isn't over yet. So, we're just getting ready for St. John's today. Not as much celebrating.
Thanks, Trevor. Anything else out there? Front left?
Yeah, Trevin, obviously you were on that Sweet 16 team a couple of seasons ago, but you were out injured. Just do you still kind of take things that you saw from that run and kind of implement them and try to, I guess, put that on the rest of the team? Or how do you kind of, I guess, look back on that to, help?
To be honest, that was a really long time ago. I don't really remember much about it, but I just remember how fast and, how hard everybody played. But, I don't remember much besides that.
For both of you guys, just Jonas has really kind of come into his own in the last few games. I know he's you dealt with his injury issues in the early season. Just how have you guys kind of seen him kind of improve his output in these recent games?
I'm proud of him. He dealt with some injuries, but he stayed in the gym, got better. He just finally, he broke through. Work really paid off for him. He's been working late nights, so work really paying off.
Right here, front right.
Robbie LaStellaBracketeer.org. For either of you guys, has the mentality in the locker room changed to where you guys are at now from earlier in the season when you guys were maybe struggling a little bit?
No, not at all. We still hungry. Oh, excuse me. We started up 0-5 in the SEC. That ain't changed. We still trying to eat, kill, all that. We trying to win national championship. That's the goal.
All right. Trevor agrees. John, do you have anything to say? All right.
Along those lines, Carter, John Fanta, Fox Sports, what has allowed this group to keep that drive, that hunger, that dream of winning it all in place even when you were 0-5? And was there ever a moment, you don't have to get into the full details of it, but where you guys sort of banded together as players and said, we're not going to let this start to SEC play define who we are?
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, most definitely. We stuck together. When we was 0-5, we stuck together. We didn't let go of the rope. And look what we got us. We got us here. With the job not finished, we still got some more games to go. We got St. John's tomorrow, and we got to get to the dub.
Excellent. Anything else for guys up here? If there's nothing else, Trevor and Carter, you guys can head back to the locker room. Appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow. Scheduled to have Coach Cal around 3:30, but we may be bumping that up. We'll keep everyone appraised of the situation. Just a quick update that Coach Cal will probably can't start until about 3:30, so got about 15 minutes or so, just as a heads up.
I knew it was going to happen as soon as I saw that pairing on selection Sunday, but I talked myself out of it. I was like, great.
And the only reason I actually remembered that Victoria because I was actually I was looking up old, old newspaper archives. I saw Eno Tyler had a game story on that, and included that exchange at the end of the story.
That they did.
See, I didn't know who you were at the time. What name? Brian Mahoney. And that really kind of summarizes Brian Mahoney there. In 10 word nutshell.
logistical sense, like, let's say we're to win, how would we handle that just from the hotel and flight sense? Or maybe we should drive. Schedule in Chicago, Thanksgiving, his mom is upset about that.
That's fine. I mentioned it. Totally fine. Hey, we're ahead of schedule is a good thing. You know? Thank you. Sure, thank you. Yeah. Just a quick update. After Coach Cal, we'll be joined by St. John's student athletes Aaron Scott and Simeon Wilcher. Thank you. That will be at approximately 3:55. Welcome, Coach. Once you're settled, Coach, we will open up the floor to questions. Please state your first, last name, and affiliation. Wait for the mic to be called. You can start up here, front left. Get a mic.
Anthony Christensen, HawkSports.com. Did Adu Thero practice today? And if so,
Yeah, he was out there. Let me just say that.
and do you expect him to go tomorrow? Or?
And if you ask me, I mean, the kid will try to convince me, but, I mean, you got to be able to go in and help. And Boogie was able to do it. But I've seen crazier things.
And then one more for me, just with Jonas dealing with the injury issues he had throughout the season, was there anything you or the staff did to, I guess, help him along and kind of help him get to the point where he's having the impact he's having now?
He and Z both and TB really worked their way out of the positions they were in. And, you know, Kenny Payne you know, driving him, mainly to get him in better shape. I mean, Jonas was out 4 months and maybe almost 5 months with the injury. So he's only been playing the last 12 games. TB was playing behind Adu, so he played some good games, but it's only been, what, 10 games? Nelly and Carter and Billy, you know, with Boogie going down, he's been out 15 games. They had more opportunities. But you know, if you got a team that's been together and played 30 games, we're not it. And what happened to us in the zone? Adu Thiero, you that watch us, is our zone offense. We throw it to him in the middle on the elbows, and he goes, creates for his teammates. No one has played a zone since he's been out. And then they went zone, and we trying to figure out who to put in the middle. And I think by the end we figured out here's the best guy for this group, which is a different team without Adu. Adu is our leading scorer. So, but it's, you know, I come back to the resiliency of this group. To be on this stage, to be up, to take 2 ridiculous threes. Like, what are you thinking? And all of a sudden, they get back in the game. And now, we have to gut it out and win the game, and we did. Made the free throws, made the plays, made a stop. Boogie made a steal. All of a sudden, you know, it's our game when it looked, we were down 3. So.
Coach, on her back left.
Jackson Fuller, Southwest Times Record. Coach, you've said throughout the year that you've had confidence in your team being able to turn it around, just need to get healthy and stuff. Was there ever a point where your patience was wearing thin? I mean, were you able to stay patient throughout the entire season and, you know, have that belief even after the 0-5 start and everything?
Well, I don't think it was patience. I just had to keep believing and letting them know I believed. I believed in this and that I've been through stuff like this. You guys never have. Maybe not that bad, but, you know, it starts with our staff never splintered, never wavered. Let's just keep getting work in. We're going to bust through at some point, and when they do, it'll be really rewarding for everybody. And that's kind of what happened. And then as coaches, all of us, you know, you got to battle that demon too. Like for me, the biggest thing was I had to take all the stuff I had done in the past in my career and set it aside. It had nothing to do with this. So if I'm frustrated because what I've done in the past isn't happening right now, I'm going to be taking it out on the kids. I had to just say, forget about it. I'm going to make this something special. I don't care what I've done in the past. It doesn't matter. It has no bearing on this. And the staff, I told them the same thing. So we just kept believing.
Just talking to your players, a lot of them were too young to really remember John Calipari, Rick Pitino battles. If you could tell them one thing to maybe think about and what you remember from going up against Rick, what would it be?
Well, they're a team that's going to be prepared. They're going to play hard. They're going to play rough. It's going to be bump and grind. You're not getting a free layup without getting bumped. I mean, that's his teams. He's not pressing as much where he'd go 2-2-1, 1-2-2, 1-2-1-1. He's doing mostly man. Sometimes they'll trap. But what you find out, the second half numbers are like ridiculous. So they're basically wearing you down like you're in combat. And eventually, if you're not used to it, hopefully we understand that. We talk to the kids about it. But they're good. He's done a great job with his team. That's why they're a 2 seed. That's why we were a 10 seed. That's why we're underdog this game. Their guard play, and people say, well, they don't shoot it. You ready? The last 5 games, their percentage is better than ours from the 3. So then you got to say, you really don't shoot it then. I mean, those are numbers that are real. So They offensive rebound like crazy. If they get 18 offensive rebounds and make 10 threes, they beat anybody in the country. Would you guys that follow them say that? That's who they are. And so you better rebound, and you better hope some of it is they're just missing some threes.
Right here in front, Coach.
Zach Brazilian, New York Post. John, what did you think of Rick's video before you went back to Kentucky where he told the Kentucky fans they shouldn't boo you?
I didn't see it.
No?
I heard about it.
What'd you think
But
of it?
what's that?
What'd you think of the fact that he did that?
That was nice of him. I'd rather have a Christmas card, but that was nice of him.
Right here in the middle, Coach, middle left.
Hey, Coach, Ty Richardson, ESPN Arkansas. To kind of go off Jackson's question, I know a lot's been made about you and Coach Pitino, and he kind of joked yesterday you guys aren't playing one-on-one. What is your relationship like with Coach Pitino?
It's fine. We both started in 5-star, the basketball camp with Howie Garfinkel and Will Klein. He's much older than me, but we started in that camp. And I've always looked up to him because he was, when I was a camper, he was a counselor. When I became a counselor, he was a speaker. He was there with Chuck Daly and Hubie Brown, and I could go on, and Rick Pitino. You know, knowing what he did at BU and then Providence, then goes to the Knicks, and then goes back to Kentucky, and then goes to the Celtics, and then goes to Louisville, and I can go on, Greece and Iona, and now at St. John's. And everywhere he's been, he's made a difference. So I will study what he's doing. I always do. Watch what he's doing. How's he doing it? But there's the formula, whether it's me or him or another coach, the relationship with the kids to get them to play hard and play with a winning attitude. That's something he's always done. So I respect him. Again, understand, I don't know how long he was at Louisville when I was at Kentucky, but you're not going to be friends when you got those two jobs. You're not going to be enemies, but if he's real good, you're like, oh, jeez. And if we were real good, he was probably saying, yeah. But that's, I respect coaches. I respect coaches that can really do this well. And if you can do it over a long, long period of time, I really respect you, because this is, with all that goes on with what we do, to sustain excellence means you're really, really good at what you do. You're great at what you do. Maybe you're one of the best to ever do it.
Stay here in the middle, Coach. Go ahead.
Andrew Hutchinson, Best of Arkansas Sports. Coach, you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but St. John's has the #1 defense in the country. Just what makes them so tough?
They switch a lot. They're really physical. They collapse. They make layups hard. They will, their three-point defense is like ridiculously low, but the way we shoot it, they don't have to be ridiculously low. We'll do that to ourselves sometimes. And then the second thing is, my guess is 50-50 balls, they get 70% of them or more. And that's why defensively you think about it. And then their defense leads to their offense. They probably, my guess is, score 17, 18 points a game off turnovers. So you better not have a whole lot of live ball turnovers, or you have no chance of winning the game.
Front right, Coach.
Robbie Listella, Bracketeer.org. Big game for John L. last night. How have you kind of seen his game develop throughout the season, and has he kind of taken on a bigger leadership role, given that he's been in March Madness 2 years in a row?
He has, but you have to understand, he fell off a golf cart going to the football game and almost broke his wrist. And it was naturally, his right wrist. He was out 3 weeks, 4 weeks, had to go to New York. They had to do stuff. And it took him time to get it back to where it was. But what I'm happy about is he never stopped and he just kept going. And so now, like that shot in front of me, I did. As soon as I saw the ball in the air, shoot it. You better shoot, because sometimes he ball fakes. And you just want him to shoot it and be confident. DJ does the same sometimes. Just let it go.
All right, Coach, back left here.
Right here.
Brennan Quinn from The Athletic. Just to follow up on the conversation about Rick, at this point, how do you think you guys are most alike, and how do you think you're most different?
We both have big noses, so that's one. And he has Gucci shoes, and I got itchy shoes, so we're a little different there. I don't know. I mean, we're all going to be judged 50 years from now, what we did and how we did it. But, my hope is people look and say they both get their teams to play really hard. They both get their teams at a competitive level. Do we do it different? Yeah, I guess. I'm who I am. Like it or not, this is who I am. And how I deal with kids, we're all different with that.
And when you talk about, if I can, sorry, when you talk about the fragility of coaching relationships, how do you kind of feel about that? That you're in this profession where there might be people that you want to maintain relationships with, and it gets challenging.
Called me last night, and my wife loves it. Tom Izzo and I have been friends for a long time. He calls me, and my wife, anytime he calls, I got to put it on speaker because she wants to hear, because we're laughing, we're doing whatever, but we're not in the same league. And Mark Few and he hits me last night after the game, and we go back and forth. That's in this profession, that happens. It's just hard. Now, Rick Barnes and I, we were friends since, again, he's a little older than me, when we were 18. We were doing camps and doing stuff together, and we've stayed close for that period of time. That's unique. He knows I love him. He's right away will say to me, love you, brother. But it's hard unless you have something long-standing, because the old coaches used to go to breakfast the day of the game or dinner the night before the game. I remember I was with Ted Owens. He would go the night before and either have dinner or have breakfast with the coach the morning before. Never is that happening now. It's just different.
John?
John Fanta, Fox Sports. John, you said it earlier, your team, your players embracing that underdog mentality. These have been two different seasons for the respective programs meeting tomorrow. But we're in Providence. You're on Federal Hill, heavy Italian community around here.
I've gone under the pineapple about 6 times already. Go under it, let's go Italians, let's do this. But go ahead.
All of those things, the rich basketball tradition in this town. And now, in a world where you could have easily never met again, how much do you feel the basketball gods have led these two programs to meeting tomorrow?
He's on chapter 2 of his new book, and we're on chapter 1. Matter of fact, we're probably on the first few pages of the chapter. But it's both of us writing another story and then being able to come back here. Now, Father Jay is in Florida, so I wanted to give him confession, but he's not here. Kenny Ford, Jersey Red, all you in Providence know who I'm talking about, has passed away, but his daughter went to dinner with us 2 nights ago, and Paxson, who I'm her godfather. But there are friends that I have here. We were just talking about Billy Reynolds passing away. I was at UMass, not far from here, for 8 years. And so, no, I love Providence. I love Federal Hill. I love the city. To be able to come back and be here, I was happy. One of my players asked me, as you probably know, where's Providence? And I said, in the United States. But no, this is, and I even love running around and seeing the old houses on the street. And, this is the history here of, reminds me of in the areas of Boston, the same kind of deal.
You're the right coach.
Mike Vaccaro, New York Post. John, what was it like? You touched earlier about 5-star. What was it like being a coach with some ambitions, a young coach, going there for the first couple of times?
You just hope Garf at the introduction gave you a nice introduction. And it meant something when you're 19. But you also look around the room and you're like, again, Hubie Brown, Chuck Daly, Rick Pitino, Mike Fratello. I can go on and on. I'm leaving guys out. But you're kind of overwhelmed because they start talking and you know none of it. Like, they're doing stations and literally you're learning how to coach, learning what it means to coach. And I was in that laboratory and able to do it. And Garf and I stayed friends until he passed away. Will Klein is still a friend. But they gave all of us, Rick included, an opportunity in this profession. And I'm forever grateful. And to learn from those guys, learn from Rick. I mean, you know, he was doing stuff, individual stuff and workout stuff and ball fakes and all this stuff. And ball up, knees down. That's your ball fake. Ball up, knees down. I mean, you just learned all kind of stuff that you're like, wow, that's pretty good. So that was the laboratory. And again, the games there, I coached one team that they were sophomores, and I was coaching at UMass. They were better than my players at UMass, and they were sophomores back then. Grant Hill was on my team. Danny Ferry was on my team. They were sophomores. What? John Wall. I mean, it's crazy. At that time, that's where you went. You went to 5-star, and I got to coach there and learn to coach.
Thanks, Coach. Any others? We have time for one or two more.
Jackson Fleck, Southwest Times Record. Rick has said a couple times that he doesn't necessarily consider you a rival, not in more like he doesn't have that disdain. I'm curious, do you consider Rick a rival, and if not, do you have any head coaching rivals?
Whoever I'm coaching against, that's a rival for that day. I'm not, you know, when you're doing what we do, if the one thing I know, if I dislike a coach, I don't do a good job. So I try to ignore all that. The problem is sometimes you're playing coaches you really respect, and you don't like doing that either. You'd rather play somebody you don't know, let's just go play a game. But yeah, I've never seen him as a rival. Louisville was a rival. He happened to coach there, but I coached against him with other coaches too. You know, it's, Bill Self and I, he won his national championship against me and we won ours against him. But what? So what? I mean, you know, I was at Kansas and left to go to Pitt as an assistant, and he was the guy that took my place. So we've known each other for 25 years. But, you know, when you're in this a long time, you know, you see a lot, you meet a lot of people, and they're people that you really like, wow. When I was at UMass, I would be in there not knowing whether we were going to win or lose before every game. Like not knowing, are we going to win or lose? And I'm in there, I'm sweating, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, how did Coach Smith, Dean Smith, do this for 30 years? I'm going to die at age 40. How in the world did he do this? Well, you start figuring out he knew he was winning 20, and the question was he going to win 30? And so as we got better, I can say, okay, if you get good enough and you're a good team, I guess you can last in this. But I didn't know when I first got started. We lost to Lowell. Stan Van Gundy was the coach. How about that? We lost to Lowell. And the officials tried to give us the game. I went on the bus and said, you guys deserve to beat us. They were Division II at the time.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.